Are you curious about the differences of what it's like to work as a lawyer in two completely different settings? Well, in today's video, I'll be discussing the differences I had working as a litigator versus being an in-house counsel attorney. And the 5 categories that I basically kind of wrote down that I wanted to discuss with you today are: 1 is the attire, 2 are my daily assignments, 3 is like office or the location of where I would be working in or where these attorneys be working in, 4 would be different types of office personalities that you work with and just the office vibe in general, and finally 5th is how you make money as an attorney or the services that you are rendering. The first topic is attire. So as a litigator, I feel like every single day, depending on what you're supposed to do that day, if you're supposed to be on court or if you have depots, of course you're gonna come in with like super business professional and you're gonna come in wearing a suit. But for me, during my experience, I think my office was a little bit more business casual. There were attorneys that would come into the office, especially if they didn't have to meet clients, they would be wearing jeans or, button-up polos, but I would always coming in kind of wearing slacks or black jeans and a really nice like professional top. For the most part, when I was working at a law firm, I was always wearing business casual slacks or a really nice dress-up shirt, but sometimes I would wear sneakers. Now going on to working for in-house counsel, when I was working and I went corporate, it was a huge turnaround for me because I was finally able just to wear casual clothes. I was still kind of like business casual, but I got to swag out more. I got to wear jeans like almost every single day. I can probably count on like one hand how many times I actually suited up, and the only time I did was because we had clients coming in or the top executives coming in and we had to dress nice. Now for assignments, I would say that your daily assignments would be, rolling phone calls, speaking to opposing counsel, speaking to the judge if you need to, or the court clerk. But for the most part, it was managing your phone, talking to your assistant, and drafting. I would say the most difficult part was managing the phones. At the time, I was managing around maybe 32 cases. I was the main attorney on those cases, so I was getting phone calls all the time, either from the insurance companies or our clients or opposing counsel. My daily workload when I was a litigator really depended on what the timeline was on my calendar. So if I had a court hearing coming up, I would prepare for that, or if I had a discovery deadline coming up, I would work on that. So it really just depended on what was coming up on my calendar, but that was kind of like my day-to-day. Now, when I worked as an in-house counsel, my boss was a managing counsel of transactions. I was on the transactions team when I first worked my in-house counsel job, and I didn't have to do any litigation. I was super excited because I didn't have to worry about being in court. I didn't have to worry about suiting up in that sense. And most of my daily assignments were, redlining contracts, redlining NDAs, redlining media release forms, or drafting some sort of contract that can help move the corporation forward, or anything that comes through on my desk from the managing counsel of transactions is what my daily duties are. So this is really different from working as a litigator, because when you're a litigator, you're working on a caseload, and then when you're working as an in-house counsel, it just depends on the projects that come in through your door. So I would say a big majority of my day was managing actually my Microsoft Teams messages. I remember like there'd be just days where I'm just nonstop getting pings from different people from the company and from different departments. That was a big chunk of my day, was just managing those pings and making sure that I'm responding to different people within our company. Another difference too with my assignments of the day where I would have calendar meetings, and I didn't have calendar meetings in the same sense as when I was working as a litigator. It's really a different world when it comes to what my day-to-day duties were between being a litigator and in-house counsel. I think most people can probably understand the corporate side of it, because if you work for a normal corporation, you kind of have the same duties of responding to pings and being in meetings all day. Now, the third topic is location. This kind of varies. It just depends on the company or law firm that you work at, but my situation was when I worked as a litigator at a law firm, I had to be in the office Monday through Friday. If for some reason I had to work on the weekends, then I would have to come into the office on Saturday or Sunday, or I guess I could work remote too. I was lucky because my company was able to give me like a VPN, so I would just sign into the VPN and be able to access all of our company's files from there and work from home if I needed to. But I know that the partners wanted me to be in office every single day, Monday through Friday. If you're looking for a litigation job, that you're gonna have to be in office, and it's gonna be really tough if you're working remotely, especially as a junior attorney. I kind of understand why partners would want that, because they want to have you in the office all the time. They want you, there's nothing like you're in the actual office and working than being in the environment. It was during COVID, it was during 2020, and a lot of my friends and most of the other attorneys I knew were actually working from home. So I was still kind of bummed I had to go into the office every single day, but that's just kind of like the hustle culture and the lifestyle that they have working at law firms. So you can definitely expect to be in office every single day. Now, working as in-house counsel, this can really vary. It really depends on the company that you work for. And if at the time, like, you know, during COVID, they were really, really strict. So I only had to go into the office. I was hybrid. So I was going into the office, I think like Tuesday and Thursday, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I was at home. So that was really clutch. I really love that. The job that I'm in now it's fully remote. So, and I'm still working as in-house counsel. I'm a contractor, and I love having the flexibility of just staying from home and working in my apartment. I 100% love this change from being a litigator. Now, the fourth topic is office vibes, office personalities, and like kind of the differences there. Again, this is just, you know, it depends on the situation and how your actual company's work or your law firm is. But in my experience, when I was working as a litigator, it was really cool because I worked under both of the partners. I was able to have two assistants. So both of the assistants kind of worked for the different partners. And so I was able to utilize both of them. It was cool because I was able to have, you know, work on the attorney side of things, like the lawyer stuff. And then my assistant was able to do more of the admin side of it. So if I needed to have, you know, a meeting calendared, or they would handle all like the tedious work with the court clerks. When you go corporate or you go in-house, that, you know, you might not be lucky to have an assistant anymore. Another major difference is that I feel like at a law firm, because every single attorney is competing against each other, because you're trying to bill as much as you can so that way you are bringing in the company as much money as possible. So I feel like it kind of fosters more of like a competitive, you know, law school culture. And so people are a lot more closed off. And like I said, it just depends on the attorneys work with. But I know that the minute I would come into the office, all of the attorneys would close their door just because everyone's locked in. You don't know if an attorney is, you know, on a court call, or if they're, you know, in a deposition or talking to their client. So I understand that too, because at the end of the day, like, we're all rendering a service and trying to bill as much as we can for the firm. So definitely it was a much more competitive culture. Now, when you switch gears to in-house counsel, I felt like all the attorneys I worked with, depending on the departments they were coming from, but they were all cordial and like super helpful when it came to like, hey, like, can you help me like redline this agreement, or can you take a look at this contract too? Because our client, once you're in-house, is the company that you work for. In that sense, you feel like you're rowing in the same direction, and that they're a little bit more, you know, willing to help you, because the workload is different. But I feel like when you're a litigator, you're really by yourself. Like, you really feel like all the attorneys are just like drowning in their cases and trying to figure things out. Of course, they're willing to help you too, but they're not gonna like do a heavy lift with you or do projects together. So I think like when I went in-house, it was really cool because the team that I worked for at my first job, it was like we had a whole transaction team, and we would work on projects together. We would work on negotiating contracts and whatnot together. So it was cool. It was a lot more collaborative and more of like a team than it felt like when you were working at a law firm as a litigator. Now, my last and final topic of like the differences of being a litigator versus an in-house counsel, based on my experience, is how you are making money as a lawyer. In this sense, it can be really different, because if you work for a law firm, you are likely billing. I'm sure if you've like been interested in the law, you already know what charging at the billable hour is. So lawyers, we bill in 6-minute increments. So if I am drafting a letter and it takes 6 minutes to do it, I'm gonna bill at 0.1. So we do like a tenth of the hour. So if you bill 0.1, that's 6 minutes. If you bill 0.2, that's 12 minutes. If you bill 0.3, that's 18 minutes, and so on and so forth, all the way until you get to the 1 hour. That is how litigators or certain attorneys, I mean, it's not just in-house counsel versus being a litigator, but that's how I think a lot of solo practitioners also probably bill. I know other attorneys also get paid based off of a contingency fee. So if they win the case for you or if they settle, they get 30% of the winnings or the settlement of the case. Now, how you make money as an in-house counsel or corporate counsel, as you all probably know, is that you're based off of a salary, and your salary is, you know, kind of just the ceiling of what you can make that year. If your company also offers bonuses, then fantastic. When you're an in-house counsel, what you're doing is protecting the company from lawsuits, or if you're working on the transactions team, then you are pushing the company forward to make the correct deals. So I would say that this is really different from working as an in-house attorney, and the salary structure is a lot different. Now, these were just some of the main differences that I experienced as a young attorney, working both as a litigator for 1 year and then also as in-house counsel for around 3 to 4 years. So I would say that I was really, really lucky. Not too many people are able to transition this early in their career into in-house, but still at the end of the day, something that I would say and kind of give a piece of advice is that it is so important to kind of work at a law firm very early in your career, and that if you can do it within the first 2 years of being a lawyer and stick it out, it is very tough. Highly recommend spending your young years and while you're still hungry and like ready to kill, to do it as a first-year attorney. I really appreciate you guys tuning into my video today, and I can't wait to see you guys in my next one.